Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kedar Joshi, and first of all, let me thank you all for taking the time out and joining the webinar today. A quick introduction: I'm one of the co-founders at Qualisha Software, a company which we started 10 years back, and in my current role, I'm focusing on all the key account growth. Yeah. So we have a very interesting topic on hand for the discussion today, and I'm going to talk about how our scriptless test automation platform will help you accelerate your test automation initiatives by at least 5 times than what has been your earlier experience. I'm going to also talk about some of the common challenges of test automation. Though they sound very easy to solve, people who've done test automation before will understand how painstaking it is to actually build a test automation which is robust and at the same time which is easy to maintain. Yeah. So the mode for the webinar today is, all the participants will be on mute, but you will be able to send messages if you have any questions. I will walk you through a short presentation for about 5 to 7 minutes to set the context and give you an introduction of our product. Then I'll walk you through the live demo, which I'll cover the speed of automation, the reliability, and the ease of maintenance. And as time permits, we will take the question and answers. Yeah, great. So I hope everybody is able to view my screen now. And let me begin by first giving a quick introduction of Qualisha, which is our scriptless test automation platform. Yeah. So we are a company which is focused only on testing and test automation. And what we have to offer is a completely scriptless test automation platform, which allows all testers, not just automation testers, but all testers to confidently begin their test automation journey. Now, the best thing to happen to us over the journey for the last 10 years is all the good customers that we were able to acquire. Some of the logos that you see on the screen right now, and these are all large enterprise customers, likes of PricewaterhouseCoopers, MetLife, Bombay Stock Exchange here in India, Deloitte Consulting, to name a few. Yeah. But if you look at all these customers, these are very large, and the testing tools marketplace, or testing product marketplace, is highly commoditized. Every customer or every enterprise has a wide option to choose which test automation or solution works best, and oftentimes customer will do a very thorough evaluation before selecting a product. And the reason why all these large customers, in spite of having so many options, chose Qualisha for three main reasons. One is the ease of use. So Qualisha's scriptless platform truly takes away the programming complexities that are typically involved in test automation and gives a fully scriptless end user experience, which allows enterprises to scale up their automation beyond the limited technical capabilities or skill gaps that are often seen within quality assurance teams. Second is the speed of automation. So the business component level reusability that Qualisha brings on the table, along with superior automation design, helps you rapidly enhance your automation coverage. So our customers tell us that they see at least 5 times productivity, or they're able to complete their automation at least 2 times faster in comparison with their earlier experiences. And third, and the most important, is the reliability or the stability of the automation suites that we build. Yeah. One of the common challenges of test automation is flakiness and high maintenance. So Qualisha as a platform will enforce some of the best practices of test automation that go a long way in enhancing the reliability of the automation suites that we build. Yeah. So over the last 10 years, we've been consistently followed by quite a few analyst firms globally, the Gartners and IDCs of the world. And they've written good things about us. And the theme that they write about is how our scriptless test automation platform truly allows large enterprises to scale up their automation beyond the technical capabilities, which are very limited within quality assurance teams. Yeah. So what is the problem that we are trying to solve? So to say differently, what is the current situation of test automation? Yeah. So if you focus on the pie graph on this slide, any quality assurance team, big or small, no, comes predominantly from a functional background, or we loosely call them manual testers, and for all the right reasons. No, because these are your best assets. They know the application under test. They know the functionality of the application. They know the domain that the projects are working on. But whenever test automation is expected from this team, many enterprises do not acknowledge the fact that building a robust test automation solution is almost like a software development activity. You know, it is equally complex. Unless and until you don't have those highly skilled and experienced team members on your side, it becomes very difficult to build a test automation approach that works for you or for a long-term basis. What we typically see is the first time test automation journey is fairly smooth. The first 50, 100 test cases that you select, you are able to develop them very quickly. But the problem begins when the application begins to change. When the maintenance of those scripts come into the picture, that's where all the automation suites that you built earlier, they begin to fail. And all your strategic objectives of test automation take a back seat. And the whole team only talks about how many scripts passed and how many scripts fail. You get completely defocused. And the focus shifts from testing to trying to make this alien or trying to make this test automation work for you. And that's exactly the gap that we bridge. So as we go through this webinar today, as I show you our product, I want you to validate Kolisha against our three value pillars. How we make test automation easy so that any tester can confidently automate, how we make it extremely fast and reliable. And the reason why we want to do this is we believe in today's world, every customer should have the ability to do continuous testing or continuous delivery, especially when we are talking agile and DevOps. When it was all manual testing, or testing was performed in a silo, whether or not you automate was still an option. But to automate or not to automate is not an option anymore. It's almost become mandatory if you really want to go agile. So this is how Kolisha fits in your overall application stack. So you have your application under test as the bottommost layer in this pyramid. And most enterprise applications that get built today are not limited only to the UI layer. You need to test integrations in the form of API testing, web services testing. You need to perform verifications all the way up to the database layer. Now, oftentimes your end-to-end test cases also require you to interact with file systems, like uploading a file, downloading a file, or verifying the contents inside a file. But for a test engineer, the entire test automation lifecycle is managed within Kolisha, which is a single skill requirement, which gives a completely scriptless end user experience. So Kolisha as a platform will integrate with certain proven underlying automation tools like UFT for thick client applications, Appium for mobile applications, and Selenium WebDriver for all web applications. So if a person knows, or if a tester knows how to use Kolisha, with a single skill requirement, you're pretty much able to perform the automation testing of any type of enterprise application. There is nothing new to be learned every time you come across a new application under test. So what are we doing in Kolisha? What we've understood very early on is the automation tools by themselves are very capable. It's only that testers are not able to leverage all the capabilities to make those test automation projects successful. So Kolisha as a platform will complement some of the abilities of the underlying automation tool and give a completely end user scriptless experience. So any application development technology that the underlying automation tool will support, Kolisha will naturally support it out of the box. Yeah. So for example, UFT, it's possible to work with all types of applications, including Oracle and SAPs of the world. When you talk about WebDriver, all latest development technologies like React.js, AngularJS, Ajax, HTML5, and in the world of mobile, your web applications, native applications, or hybrid applications for iOS and Android are completely supported out of the box within Kolisha. Even when it comes to web services testing, oftentimes you need to default, or you need to fall back on a specialized tool for performing web services testing, which is yet another skill to be learned. But in Kolisha, even the web services testing, may it be a SOAP API or it could be a REST API, can be automated with the same scriptless user experience. There is nothing new to be learned for a end user, only to perform the web services testing. Yeah. When it comes to database verifications and validations, Qualisha will integrate with all RDBMS type of databases. And of late, we've also started supporting certain NoSQL databases like Couchbase or Cassandra. And all your major file types, Word, Excel, PDF, flat files, CSV files can be used as a data input when you work with Qualisha. All the test cases that get automated in the world of web or in the world of mobile can be put for execution cross platform. So we support Windows, Mac, and Linux, and also all the different browser types, including Safari and Chromium. The most interesting aspect of our product, is the overall integration stack. So all these integrations that I'm going to talk about are naturally available out of the box the moment you install Qualisha. So on the requirements management side, we integrate with tools like Jira, HPLM, or TFS. All the assets or all the automation scripts that you build inside Qualisha are tightly integrated with version control tools like Subversion or Bitbucket or Git. Once the development is completed, there is a lot of flexibility when it comes to planning your test case execution. So you can take Qualisha scripts and integrate it with certain continuous integration tools like say Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, or Azure DevOps. Or if you're interested in doing any headless execution or parallel execution, you can take Qualisha scripts and directly integrate them with Selenium Grid. Or if you want to perform execution in the cloud using platforms like Sauce Labs or Perfecto, you can just take Qualisha scripts and deploy it on those solutions. Yeah. Or if you want to just simply perform the executions by pushing the run button inside Qualisha, that's something I'll demonstrate it as we progress. If your automation scripts catches any bug or any defect, they can be reported directly into your bug tracking tools like Jira, or matched back to your requirements in tools like Azure DevOps or with HPALM. And also, while all of this is happening, Qualisha is silently building a very rich data mart which help you populate detailed test execution reports and also dashboards. Yeah. So this was Qualisha in a nutshell. I would now like to switch to the demo and talk about how you can truly simplify your test automation and help scale test automation in your enterprise. Yeah. So this is Qualisha's user interface. So once you log into Qualisha, you come to the administration module. Here you can create users, you can create projects, and you can assign roles to different users depending on certain access privileges that you want to grant them. Yeah. Gone are the days when teams were small and you could pretty much work in a silo. Nowadays, automation is all about collaboration. And in Qualisha, all the users who are connected on the same project will be able to share test artifacts real time. Yeah. But a bulk of the time the tester spends is in the development tab. This is where you begin doing your automation development. You select the appropriate project that you're working out from the drop down. And once you select the project, all the test cases or scenarios that are linked to your project are visible on the tree structure on the left hand side panel of Qualisha. Yeah. Now the entry point of test automation begins with identification of objects in your application under test. Yeah. And there are a couple of ways in which you can do object identification in Qualisha. First option is you can use the object spy, which gives a user a point and click object identification experience and assemble all the objects in a centralized object repository management system. Or you can also use Qualisha's rich recorder. Yeah. So for the demo today, let's look at the recorder. So I'll go ahead and under one of the test scenarios, let me create a demo test case. Let me call it say demo test case for webinar. And the moment you create a test case, Kolisha will start prompting some of the best practices of test automation, one of which happens to be breaking up your test case into smaller reusable business components, which in Kolisha is called a task. Yeah. So if you don't modularize, or if you don't break up your test case into smaller reusable components, and if you choose to keep it as one monolith end-to-end workflow, maintenance becomes a huge overhead. In order to avoid that, let's break up our workflow into smaller reusable component by creating my first business component. Let me call it, say, new user registration. Yeah. Yeah. And once I create a business component, I can start recording what this workflow will look like. So I click the recorder button and I simply point it to the website. So for the demo today, let's look at Zoho. And then Kolisha will open a browser window and it will begin with the recording. Yeah. So now as I interact with this application, Kolisha will record all these steps behind. Yeah. So I'll simply interact with the scheme. So I'll go to free sign up. Yeah. So on the email address, let me say kedar.joshi@mail.com and say whatever my password is. Say I agree to the terms and I say I want to sign up. Yeah. So now it is creating an account for me on Zoho. And say after the account has been created, I want to perform some validation. So I'm just getting a confirmation from Zoho regarding my new account creation. And say then I want to check whether this link is available. Now our most popular page. So I simply do a mouse over and I say I want to verify the object. I click on this link and then I want to verify the existence. Once this is done, now I finished my recording and all these steps that I had performed in this business component are now available in my Kolisha developer screen. So now with this, I'm pretty much done with automating my test case. So if I push the run button now, Kolisha WebDriver will get invoked and execution will begin. Yeah. But oftentimes after you record the workflow, you need to parameterize different types of data sets. Right now I used only my username and password, but say if it was a business component where you could iterate multiple data sets, you open Kolisha's test data explorer. And in the test data explorer, Kolisha will show you all the test data that needs to be parameterized. Yeah. In this test data sheet, every row becomes an iteration. So if you want to iterate this task with 3 different data sets, you simply have to copy records over here and Kolisha will work with that data. You can also mention the selection as true or false, such that only those data sets which get marked true for selection get pulled up during execution. You can also tag your data sets. Say sometimes you perform positive test scenarios and negative test scenarios through data iterations in the same business component. You can simply tag your data sets over here and you will be able to pull the test data depending on which type of test you want to run. Yeah. So once you've parameterized this data, and this is not the only way you do it, if you're an advanced user, for a simple user experience, we provide this user interface. But for advanced users, they also have the ability to connect and read test data directly from a third-party source. Like it could be like a flat file or an external file, or for that matter, even a database table. Yeah. So assuming my test data is parameterized, I simply say save, and I'm pretty much done with automating this workflow. Yeah. So all the way from creating a project, creating a user, learning of objects, designing a test case to execution. No, a user never really directly interacts with the underlying automation tool. Yeah. And what is unique about Kolisha, is Kolisha, every object that Kolisha learns, comes with a smart locator technology. And I'll give you an example of what the smart locator algorithm is doing. Yeah. Most of the application development technologies that get used today no longer use static values for object properties. These are very dynamic in nature. That's the reason you might have experienced, all the automation scripts that you do at the UI layer tend to be very flaky. And you get hundreds and thousands of failures every time you try to perform the testing. But in Kolisha, for every object that you learn, Kolisha will triangulate that object properties in such a way that even if certain object properties have changed, Kolisha will catch hold of the new object properties and update it in your OR. I'll show it to you as an example. On step number 16, you might have noticed that there is an object called first name. So if you read what this is doing, this is the log of execution where the smart locator algorithm has kicked in. It is validating the existence of the object first name where we had identified that object using a certain XPath. But since since that object property has changed, we were not able to find that object. So what Kolisha has done runtime, it has modified the locator value and it has built a new XPath runtime. So rather than reporting this step as a failure, which means that a tester will have to now intervene on that script, update the property of that object, and put that test case for execution again, Kolisha at runtime has updated the property value of that object and moved ahead with the execution. So this smart locator algorithm, we are probably the first product or a first tool in the market, where these auto healing capabilities are available at the object layer. Yeah. All right, so we pretty much automated the first business component in Kolisha, and just for demo purpose, I'll show you how a fully implemented end-to-end test case looks like inside Kolisha. Yeah. So now, if you just read the name of the test case, this is creating account and opportunity in Kolisha. If you just read the task headers, Kolisha will tell you what this test case is all about. I'm opening the application, logging in, verifying the views, verifying the logged user, creating an account, creating an opportunity, verifying the opportunity, and logging out. Yeah. So these are almost business English like statements. So in a way, we are taking automation much closer to business testers, rather than depending on people's ability to work with one or the other programming language. And this is a highly standardized approach where we are shifting the focus on superior automation design rather than getting caught up with the technical complexities. Yeah. So if I just simply expand all these business components, this will actually show you all these steps that were involved in the automation of this test case. Yeah. So this account creation and opportunity creation in Salesforce is all about 57 steps in a Kolisha in a very clean and a highly standardized format. If this same test case were to be built either using a framework or probably scripting with scripting with Selenium, you might have seen maybe 200 or 300 lines of Java code, and you would have taken one programmer to understand what that test case is trying to do. Yeah. So few things to note on the UI. Next to every task, we show you error handling flags. So a user can choose how you want the execution to behave if you encounter a failure. Do you want to continue with the task? Do you want to exit with the task? Or you want to exit only that data iteration which resulted in a failure? Yeah. One of the common mistakes that testers do while building the automation design is they don't use these error handling flags smartly. And since these error handling flags are not used smartly, oftentimes you put your test case for execution and the execution just does not end because the application has resulted into an error, but the script does not know that it has to stop the execution if it has encountered an error. So if you use this tag smartly, you will be able to perform your test automation development in a very efficient manner. Even certain statements like adding if else statements, can be done right through the UI inside Qualisha. Now, mind you, these are very challenging situations even for seasoned automation testers. It's very difficult to have these if else loops or for loops or while loops, when you build your automation design. But in Qualisha, you can do it very easily right through the UI, and also using the data parameterization, you're pretty much able to handle, all conditional structures inside your automation scripts. So as an example over here, I'm saying if the view is equal to true, or I'm just ending the if statement. Yeah. So with little bit of practice, your testers who do not come from a very strong technical background or a programming background is also able to automate medium complex or complex test cases. Yeah. So all the way up to now, I was focusing only on the ease of use. Since we have selected a web application for the demo today, I'm using Selenium as a automation tool. But I've learned the objects, I've designed the test case, and I fully implemented this test case inside Qualisha. But I've not even interacted with Selenium even once. Neither have I written a single line of code. I would like to shift gears and talk a little bit about how you can rapidly enhance your automation coverage because of business component level reusability. At the same time, be in complete control of the maintenance activities of your project. Yeah. So for that, let me go back to the test case that I was working on. So this was the demo test case. And obviously I'm going to make this up, but say I've completed the new user registration, and now I need to log in to the application as the logical business component after the registration is completed. So rather than creating a new task, Qualisha, as I said, since the focus is on superior automation design, and if you have automated those reusable business components, if you've selected a superior automation design, you will be able to reuse all of that in your subsequent test cases. So rather than creating a new task, I simply say import. And all the other business components or tasks which either I have automated or my team has automated are now visible to me. I can search if login as a business component has been automated before, and I see that there are a couple of login components that are automated. If I know which one to use, I simply select that and I associate it with my test case. So the new user registration is completed, login is completed. Say now I want to create an account. So I again search if create account as a task is available. Yeah. Say then I want to create an opportunity. Say then I want to perform some validations and verifications. Yeah. So verifying the amount, and say then I want to log out. Yeah. So what's left for a user, if you have designed the test case well, and designing a test case well is not a function of how well you know one or the other programming language. Superior automation design is a function of how well you know the application under test. So if all the testers know the application under test very well, they will be able to bring about superior automation design, which means you have high reusability of business components. And this reusability of business components go a long way in enhancing the speed of automation that you perform. Yeah. So quick anecdote on the reusability factor of business components. Yeah. So if you're working on, say, workflow type of application, so if you're working in a world of SAP or a Salesforce or a CRM type of an application, we see a baseline reusability of at least 25%, irrespective of the type of application. But you see a very high reusability within a module. Like say, for example, when you work with SAP and you're working within HRMS, or you're working within, say, finance module of SAP, there will be very high reusability of business components. So in certain projects, we see that the reusability factor is as high as 50 to 60% as well. And whenever you reuse the business components, you are adding to the productivity to the teams on the ground. You are not automating the same workflow or the same test case over and over again, which means you are spending lesser efforts on development. At the same time, you are having a very superior and a lean automation design, which directly impacts the amount of time you spend on performing the maintenance activities of that script. Yeah. Now let's take up an example of how you would perform maintenance of the automation script when you work with Qualisha. Yeah. Let's say, for example, in the script that I developed, say create account is maybe like a 10 or a 10 or a 12 step activity. Yeah. Adopting any change in Qualisha, is either adding a step or removing a step, because this is how you fundamentally build your workflow. Yeah. And in the dynamic business environment that we operate in today, there are so many changes that keep happening to the applications all the time, and this could be either at the UI layer or it could be at the business functionality layer. And unless and until you have a very I would say like a very robust method to manage that change, it becomes very difficult to making sure that your automation actually is usable. We've come across so many examples where enterprises have spent large amounts of efforts, put in a lot of investment in building automation suites, but at the time of making a release, they're just not able to complete the maintenance of the script because there are so many changes in the application, and teams struggle to make those changes or adapt to those changes in their automation scripts. But in Qualisha, adopting a change or making modification to your scripts, is a very I would say, it's a very easy user experience, which gives you all these smart alerts. Let's take that with an example. Say account creation as a business component has changed, and say the change is at step number 23. So as I said, adopting a change is either adding a step or removing a step. I say I want to add a step after step number 23. The moment I say I want to add a step, Qualisha will tell me that if you try to make any change to this business component, it is going to impact other test cases. Do you want to know what is going to be the impact before you deploy that change? So I click the view button, and Qualisha shows me the impact analysis. Which are those test cases that will get impacted because I'm making a change in a business component of the test case that I'm working on. So it will give me the name of the test case, the manual test case ID, the description, the user who had created that test case, and when it was created. And after I get to see this insight, I have two options. Either I can say yes or I can say no. If I say yes over here, this change will get applied globally across all the dependencies that I'm working on. Or if I want to keep this change local only to the test case version that I'm working on without impacting the other test cases, I simply say no. So how you would go about doing this change? If I want to keep this change local only to the test case I'm working on, I navigate to the task view, and Qualisha will show me all the reusable business components. And this is the task that I'm working on, which is the create account task. I can just simply clone it. Say I want to save as, and let me call it, say, create account. Let me call it webinar. Yeah. And then I create a clone of this task, and then I can make whatever change I want. Say I want to delete couple of rows from this task, and then I go back to the test case that I'm working on. Yeah, I go back to the test case that I was working on, and I detach this task from my test case. Yeah, and I use the new one that I just created right now. Yeah. And if it you can move the task up and down by changing just the pushing up or the down button over here. Yeah. So if you notice, two things are happening distinctly in Qualisha. Adopting a change is extremely easy. Can you imagine the level of effort or the level of expertise that is required to adopt changes when you follow a scripting approach, or if you follow a framework driven approach? Now, unless and until you know how many scripts need to be modified, where all they need to be modified, it is just not possible to do like a very clean cut adoption of that change at one time. So adopting a change in a scripting or a framework approach, we see is almost like a trial and error activity. A change comes to you, you change, modify certain scripts, put that test case for execution, wait for the execution to get completed. You look at the logs, and then you realize, oh, probably I did not adopt the change correctly. I need to make few more changes. So you again modify that script, put it back for execution. And like that, there are so many changes that are waiting for adoption at the time you make a release, that somebody at the top, maybe the business unit head or the owner of the application, just does not have the patience for test automation to mature. So what he says at that time is that, you know what, let's just fall back and do some risk-based manual testing and worry about our automation scripts later. But in Kolisha, now adopting a change is very easy. And second, you know what is going to be the impact even before the change is adopted. Yeah. So I have a very good infographic, which talks about, how, if you don't perform maintenance of your automation scripts fairly well, now how does it end up, actually derailing all your automation projects? So if you focus on this graph, which is like a conventional test automation approach, your application development, follows a linear path. So if you look at that slanting line all the way from left to right, which goes to the top, at regular intervals, you make your application releases, version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. And then you, as soon as a version is available for testing, you start building your automation suites on that version. But while the application development has moved forward, it takes a lot of time for teams to mature their automation even on a earlier version of that application. So by the time you try to mature your test automation on version 2, version 3 has already been released, and now what is awaiting release is version 4. So virtually for the version 3, either it goes untested or you perform any limited testing, which is like a risk-based manual testing, just because your automation scripts are not available because of the maintenance activities that are involved. Yeah. But with Kolisha, maintenance is extremely easy, and it will put you in direct control and making sure that all your automation suites are always available every time you make a release. Yeah. And the ultimate validation or proof of the pudding, when you work with a test automation solution, is if your automation scripts are available at the time of making a release, everything else is game. Yeah. So I'm proud to say that, all our customers are using Kolisha, continuously, even if they are following, very rigorous, sprint releases, Kolisha suites are always available. And in fact, that brings me to a topic of how you can go truly agile when it comes to Kolisha. Let's take that with an example. Say let's pretend that this is like a login screen of your application, and say after you enter the email address and enter the password, and before you click the sign in button, you need to say in the next release of the application, you're going to put like a remember password checkbox. But the application development has not yet started, and you only are part of that sprint planning meeting, and say maybe you've just looked at the wireframe as to how that change will look when that application will be made available. So with so much information in Kolisha, you can proactively start modifying your automation script. Yeah? So say after step number 7, I add a step over here. I right click and say I want to create a new object, and the name of the object belongs to my Zoho CRM application. Yeah? And the name of the object is, say, remember password. Yeah? And then whatever the description of that object is, say the class is going to be a web checkbox. Locator type probably will be an XPath, but since the development is not yet started, I don't know what it will be. So I just add a placeholder and I push that object in my repository, and then I call it over here. Yeah, and the action that I want to perform on this object is check. But if I leave this test case as it is right now, since this feature is not even available in my application, the script will always fail at step number 8, and I don't want that to happen. That's why I right click and I say I want to skip this step for now. Say maybe after few days, the developers have completed the development of this feature and now it is available for testing. I simply come back to this step, and I say unskip this step, and I right click, and I can either re-inspect that object using Kolisha's object spy, or you can simply edit the object properties and true up the property values. Yeah. So with Kolisha, you can truly go agile and achieve in sprint automation. Yeah. Your application development and your automation development can run as parallel activities, such that the moment your application under development is available for testing, your automation scripts are ready to fire. So one of the primary requirements for any Selenium based test automation is that unless and until the application is available, I cannot even start with my automation. But in Kolisha, if you know the functionality of that application, the entire automation design can be nailed inside Kolisha and get a head start in your automation journey. Good. So it was all about development. Quite a few features over here I'll not talk about. There's a debugger and all the other standard items that the automation developer will need. But assuming that the development has been completed, I can go to the execute tab of Kolisha and I can start creating multiple execution suites. So I've already created a suite called demo. I can add the test case that I had created. And once I add the test case over here, I can change the sequence of execution by pushing the up or the down button. And you similarly have error handling conditions at the suite level as well. Yeah. So if you have like automation suite of say maybe 100 or 200 test cases, and the first 4 or 5 test cases are so critical that if they error out, you're not interested in running the remaining test cases in the suite. You just, set up the error handling flag correctly. So in Kolisha, you also can create what we call as an offline package. An offline package is nothing but a completely executable version of your entire automation suite that gets packaged either as a jar file or an exe file. Yeah. And these jar files or exe files can be deployed even via command prompt. You don't actually require a Kolisha license. So oftentimes, we are in a scenario, where we are working offshore and our client is on site, and they really don't want to get involved in the development of the automation script. They're only interested in deploying these scripts. So once the automation development is completed and your suites are ready, you can simply keep these packages ready, and your on-site team can just, pick up those offline packages and start deploying it, on any machine that is available at that point. And these same offline packages can also be integrated with continuous integration tools like say Jenkins or a TeamCity or like a Azure DevOps as well. So you simply map the folder where these offline packages are available, and when a build is initiated by your CI tool, these offline packages get picked up for execution. And after the execution is completed, depending on whether the test case passed or test case got a defect, it will promote the build or demote the build as the case may be. And all those results of execution will be delivered all the way up to your mailbox. Yeah. So what I'll do right now is, I'll quickly put this test case for execution. So this test case is about your Salesforce application of creating account and creating an opportunity. This test case will typically run for about a minute or minute and a half, depending on what bandwidth you get on the Salesforce application. And after the execution is completed, we'll be able to see the results of execution on screen. I'll quickly walk you through it. And hopefully I should be done in the next few minutes. And I'll also give us an opportunity to see if there are any questions, and then we can move from there. So now, as you might have seen from the screen, Google Chrome is being controlled by Selenium WebDriver, and it has started executing the test case. So I've logged into the application, and now I should be moving to the screen where I can create an account inside Salesforce. So since I wanted this test case to run faster, I've parameterized only those mandatory data sets where an entry is required. Yeah. So now it has created an account. Now it will create an opportunity. So if you look at all the capabilities of Kolisha, your database verifications, your web services testing, all your interactions with the UI, selecting from a drop down, date pickers, all of that is done using a scriptless experience. From an end user point of view, you don't have to get into development of any reusable function libraries or actions or anything of that sort. All of this is available and ready to be used out of the box. So while I was talking, the execution got completed, and this is how typically you see a test execution result in Kolisha. So it will tell you, the IP address where the target machine where the execution was completed, the name of the project. Then I put this test case for execution on a Windows machine, which had Chrome version 85. The execution time, it took 1 minute and 43 seconds for execution, the start time and the end time. The suite had one test case, and we bucket the results into 4 categories. Any step, task, or a test case that passes is marked in green color. Failures are marked in orange or amber. Defects, which are against your verification or validation points, are marked in red color. And anything that does not get executed because of error handling conditions you specified gets grayed out. Yeah. So I had simulated a defect in this test case. That's the reason why you see a red circle over here. And these are all drill down reports. As I click through, Kolisha will show me the results exactly the way in which I had done the automation development. Yeah? And as I drill down further, I will get stepwise insights. So at each step, Kolisha will capture the status of the application via a screenshot and also give you a detailed log of execution as the execution was happening. Yeah? So even the reports have been designed in such a way such that there is meaningful information for every stakeholder who's associated with the project. Yeah. So one of the challenges when you work with test automation is that you do so many test executions all the time. Unless and until you're not able to perform or you're not able to provide those detailed reports to your management or to your project stakeholders, even though you've been doing some good work on the ground, the results are not to be seen. Whereas with Kolisha, these detailed stepwise reports can also be used to maybe to meet your compliance or regulatory requirements, since it captures a detailed log and also a screenshot of the application as the execution was happening. It could also be used to meet your regulatory requirements. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to cover in a end-to-end product demonstration today. Like a quick recap, I would just like to go through some of these slides that I talked about so that everybody understands the positioning of Kolisha fairly well. And I'll also ask my colleague to check if there are any questions as soon as I'm done. So if you look at Kolisha, what every user gets is an ability to simplify test automation, work with test automation faster than never before, and third, he'll ensure that all the test automation suites that you build are always in a ready state. If you look at the conventional ways of doing test automation, unless and until you are highly proficient with one or the other programming language, it becomes very difficult to even enter this domain of test automation. Now, I've seen so many good testers who know the application very well. They've been in the organization for a long time, but just because the management has now initiated an automation journey, these people pretty much have to sit out of projects and probably play a secondary role. Whereas with Kolisha, since there is no scripting or programming involved, even if you have skill variations in your test automation team, in your quality assurance team, every tester has an equal opportunity to participate and move up when it comes to delivering on test automation projects. Yeah. So with this, I would like to check with my colleague, if there are any questions so that he can begin to answer them. So Amit, do you want to just quickly look at some of the
Yeah,
questions that you've received?
yes, Kedar. So there are a couple of questions. Yeah, so the first question, I'm sorry, I don't see the name over here. It says NVS. The first question over here is, can existing Selenium UFT scripts be ported onto this tool?
Okay. Yeah. So this is a very important question, a very relevant question as well. So there are two parts, to answer this question. So will you have to scrap all the automation scripts that you built before? No, the answer to that is no. No, you will be able to still utilize all the scripts that you created before along with Kolisha. But does Kolisha have like an import facility where you just click of a button and Kolisha just imports all of those scripts and puts it into our UI? The answer to that is no. No, because the fundamental approach of doing test automation is different. When you script, you know, if you give a workflow to a tester, now say the same workflow, so maybe two or three testers, each tester will script differently. So it is very difficult for us to build that kind of an engine, which irrespective of the style or flavor of coding, I'll be able to bring everything back into Polisha in the same reusable, modular approach. No, we possibly cannot do that. But you don't have to scrap everything. Till the time your scripts are working, you will be able to invoke all the scripts from Polisha, and whenever a maintenance activity needs to be performed, you can do like a quick cost benefit analysis whether you are better off developing those scripts into Kolisha and slowly transition out from your old approach to the Kolisha approach, or you're still better off maintaining the scripts into your old framework itself. So over time you will see the benefit of transitioning all your automation back into Kolisha. Great. Can we move to the next question,
Uh,
Amit?
yep. So there's a question by Machine. Is this tool tested in Life Asia platform thoroughly, as most of insurance companies still run this platform?
Great. Yes. So the answer to that is yes. We are working with quite a few, insurance companies locally in the Indian market, as well as globally as well. So the technical fitment with Life Asia, has been proven. There are a couple of projects that we are working with Life Asia as well, and we should be able to work with that application seamlessly. No, we don't see any technical challenge for using Kolisha with Life Asia as an application under test.
All right. So there's another question. Does it support test case management integration? If yes, which TCM tools?
Great. So this is also a very relevant question. So when it comes to test management, so out of the box, we provide couple of integrations. One is with Azure DevOps. So if you're using Azure DevOps, there's a module called TFS, Team Foundation Server. So inside TFS, you have test management capability. So Kolisha Automation Studio directly integrates with Azure DevOps TFS. Or if you're using HPALM, Kolisha integrates directly with HPLM as well. But having said that, there are so many other test management tools available in the market. It's literally is like, there are more test management tools than test automation tools. In fact, if you just look at Jira as a platform, there is Zephyr, there is X-Ray, there are so many of them. So even in the world of Jira, Kolisha will integrate with test management tools like X-Ray. Now, though it is not a very clean-cut integration the way we do it with HPLM or Azure DevOps, but we should still be able to link your automation test scripts in Kolisha to your test cases inside test management tools on the Jira platform.
Then there's a question on licensing. Can we purchase specific testing capability feature package, for example, only mobile app testing in Collatia if we do not need desktop and web UI automation?
Yeah, good. I think the person who's asked this question, is probably familiar with licensing models which are very complex to begin with. The good part about Kolisha, is simplicity is in our DNA. Everything that we do, we like to keep it extremely simple, and so is our licensing structure as well. Once you have a license of Kolisha, we don't restrict any capabilities or features for a particular platform or a particular type of application under test. If you're working with Kolisha, you can work with any type of application which is included in the license subscription. You can work with mobile, you can work with the web, or even for that matter, a desktop tool. So much so we also don't charge you on a per execution basis. Quite a few test automation tools in the market, where they also charge on a per execution basis, and it adds one more layer of complexity. On a test automation project itself is very complex to begin with, where the total cost of ownership is not known, because you'll soon realize that once you start putting your test cases for execution, you just it's very difficult to keep account. And if you're paying on a per execution basis, you're pretty much working towards an unknown total cost of ownership. But in Colisham, the single license will give you all the capabilities. We don't restrict any capabilities for a different license type.
Then there is a question: can we do API testing with Collatia?
Yes. I have, Amit, are there any questions? Because I just want to do a quick time check. I do have a couple of minutes. So others, I'll just ask you to walk through, one of the API test examples.
So there are questions. Probably we might not be able to cover all the questions. We might need to respond to them over email.
Sure.
There are quite a few questions.
No problem. So there are only like a minute or a minute and a half left, and I think this question is very important. So Amit,
Yeah.
I'll just bring up one of the API testing examples. If you could just quickly walk through how we perform web services test automation.
Yeah. Can you go to the Jira issue creation test case, Kedar?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So within Collatia, we have multiple actions defined that take care of the actions that can be performed, or the methods that can be performed on an endpoint URL. Accordingly, we have actions. So if you could just read the components over here, where we have actions that we can define the headers that are required to call a particular API, or we can define the query parameters that are required to call a get method for an endpoint URL. We have different authentication methods like basic, bearer, JWT, token based accordingly. And as you can see over here, we have at step number 6, we have an action which tells us that this is where we are actually calling an API using the post method. Now, this particular example is on Jira, and the service request and response type is JSON. But you would see different parameters. The moment you select an action, Collatia will let you know what all different parameters uh, are required to be updated for that particular action, where we can define the authentication type, the header labels, whether it needs SSL certificate or not, and what is the expected status code as well. We can do a validation here itself. So the example over here is that I'm setting the headers, I'm defining the authentication type, calling the service to create a ticket in Jira. Then I use the get method to call the endpoint URL and fetch the data to validate whether a ticket has been created or not using the post method. Then I do a validation at step number 12 whether the ticket has been created or not. Then at step number 13, I'm calling, if you could see, I'm calling the delete method to delete that particular record which I have created, and again do a validation of whether the record has been deleted successfully or not. But if you'll again look at the flow, Just by looking at the flow, you will understand what exactly we are doing over here in this particular test case, what methods we are uh, calling, what authentication methods we are using, and whether it needs any custom headers or generic headers or any query parameters or not.
Great. Thank you, Amit. Good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just doing a quick time check. We are a couple of minutes over. I once again thank each one of you for taking the time out and participating in this discussion today. Please feel free to reach out to us either via email or just simply visit our website and fill out a quick form, and we'll be more than happy to get in touch with you. With this, now I'll close this session today and wish you all a very good day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran.